Conti, bella palla per Rebic, Ibra, Rebic, il tiro, goal!
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the SempreMilan podcast. I'm your host, Ollie Fisher, joined once again by Anthony Torgrud.
What's up? Happy to be here. Yeah, it's good to be back to normal. We have a special guest again this week. Madison's back. I know we all forgot who he was.
2 weeks hiatus. It's been great not talking to you guys for 2 weeks.
And a lot better talking to the missus, I imagine.
Yeah, of course.
And that expression actually makes sense this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, happily married man now, Maddie. How did it go?
It was everything you would expect. Nothing changes. Except now you just wear an expensive piece of jewelry.
It's good. And you have a nice amount of money to book a second honeymoon with.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you back. Feels like you've missed some good games to recap as well. Like the last 2 weeks have been pretty fun. You know, you missed the derby recap and all that good stuff, but you're back now. Mixed couple of results to recap, I would say. We'll start with the one that it feels like ages ago. I mean, it is almost a week ago now, but first Europa League game against Celtic at Celtic Park. We won 3-1. Good. Can't even remember who scored. I know Brahim Diaz got the second.
Had the third.
Yeah, Hauge got the third. The first was a Rade Krunic header, which was good. So both Krunic and Hauge got their first goals for the club, albeit Krunic is in his second season. Brahim Diaz.
Didn't Diaz score?
Yeah, he had the second one.
His first European goal for us, which was good. We knew we were playing against a team that were a bit low on confidence, but I guess it's just about getting the job done.
Yeah, the funniest part about that was our guess that we predicted a Celtic 1-0 win, and we were up 2-0 at halftime. So he was definitely wrong there. That was cool, and we got the job done. So no complaints on my end.
Maddie, did you would have watched it, will you? Because you would.
Me?
Yeah. Did you watch it?
Fuck yeah, I watched it. Well, honeymoon AC Milan game.
I thought you might have been adulting.
No. We were planning on being out, but I was like, why don't we just stay home for the day and drink? It worked out.
Best way to watch the game. Yeah, it was all right. My early season, I always say that, and we have said in the last few weeks that we've concerned ourselves so much with sort of having a vision and trying to implement a style of play in the early weeks of the season that I think we've fallen guilty of not picking up the results. Like we had a disastrous start to last season. We couldn't get any momentum. And there were points where it was like we'd been beaten 3-1 at home by Fiorentina and it was a low point and people were absolutely going crazy over that Leao solo goal. And I was like, wow, we've fallen quite far here, But this season's been
a great goal though.
It was. That was arguably goal of the season.
Fantastic goal, and we'll come on to Leao because, he's an interesting talking point in himself based on how he's been playing. But this season's been different. We haven't – a lot of the games we haven't had to get out of first gear, really. We've been able to comfortably see off the likes of Bologna, Crotone, Spezia. Celtic, I would say, it was the same kind of thing. We played well enough in the first half that being 2-0 up at the break – you always assume we were going to see that out. It doesn't tell the full story, the 3-1, because it was a little bit nervy there towards the end. They got a goal back and we were penned in a bit with set pieces. But we saw it out and there was a fantastic moment when Hauge went through on goal and scored. Was speaking to his dad after the game and he was absolutely quite emotional, as you'd imagine. It was actually a really good goal. He held off the defender well and it was a nice finish under the keeper. That was good to see.
My favorite part about that was the defender and the keeper slid right into each other. And then while they're down hurt, Leao just kind of jumps over them. Loved it.
Well, I should say at this point, at the time of recording, SempreMilan are suspended on Twitter. I won't get into it, but not particularly happy with the suspension and also the claimant, which was Serie A, have basically offered to help us out, and they have helped us out. So hopefully by the time this goes up, even we have the account back. But we did post a tweet off that. basically a comparison of that solo goal that Kaká scored against Celtic, you know, where he ran through the defence and then there's a picture of him celebrating with his arms out and the keeper and defender like crumpled together. Hauger, exact same photo with the keeper and defender on the floor and him with his arms out. I thought that was a striking similarity. People thought we were comparing the two players with that tweet, but that just wasn't the case. It was just a very similar photo. But that was really good to see. Brahim Diaz as well, it needs a mention. That was a tidy goal. Fairly simple counter attack down the left side, pull back, nice bit of footwork, finishing at the far corner. And I'm also delighted for Krunic. I said weeks ago in our pre-season predictions that I thought Krunic wouldn't necessarily be like a standout surprise in that he plays 40 games and, you know, scores 10 goals or whatever. But I think people had written him off entirely because he was so close to leaving this summer. But I thought some people might be like, he actually has a part to play. And now here we are with him apparently hopefully starting tomorrow night against Sparta Prague.
Yeah, I wrote him off. I was one of the doubters, and he's impressed me.
There's a player in there somewhere. Well. He can. I like his versatility. You know, he apparently, well, as per the lineup, he started on the left wing against Celtic, but in game we saw him and Brahim switching up quite a lot. He's played as a winger for Bosnia. He's played as an attacking midfielder for Bosnia. Just looks a tidy player, and when we don't have. I mean, we did, but let's say when we don't have Zlatan up front, he can add some size as well in the box because he's bigger than you think. And he obviously scored the header for the opener. But yeah, it wasn't bad. Unfortunately, Lille spanked Sparta Prague, who we play tomorrow night, recording on Wednesday as usual. So we're not top of the group, but who knows if Celtic can do us a favour against Lille, which looks a bit unlikely, then we might be top of the group by Friday morning. We'll see. But that was a good performance. The only thing I will say is that Tonali did seem to struggle a little bit. He's quite clearly still getting up to game speed. You know, people are forgetting that he had a shorter off season because he did get COVID before joining us. And then he joined because the deal took a bit of time to get over the line and because he was observing that quarantine. Just meant that he started that pre-season preparation a bit later than would have hoped. And also he's adapting to kind of a new role, playing alongside another midfielder. So there are positive signs in every performance and I thought he grew into the game. But there's bits that need addressing. But, you know, he's 20. I'm not worried.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any need to worry. We all knew going into it that he wasn't going to be an out-and-out starter. You know, he's young. Sorry, I got a sneeze and I'm holding back here. But he's good and he's great. That's all I got right now. Sorry.
Maddie, what are your thoughts on what you've seen of Tonali so far?
I think he's had a lot of ups and downs, but he's young and he's playing for his boyhood club. So he's got the nerves. I think it's better that he's picking up this way than picking up in front of fans. Because if he was picking up in front of fans, he'd be way more intimidated. He'd be getting like booze or something. You know, I don't know, but
that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I would have liked him to come in and just be a boss and steal a starting spot, but that's not going to happen when you're, 19 or 20 or 18, however old he is. But I mean, this first season that he's on the team, he's going to have ups and downs. By next season, though, he should be himself and comfortable and being a good contributor to the team.
I think, as well, people are forgetting how tough an act it is to follow when he's coming in for one of Benacer or Kessié. And we're used to those two being two of the best midfielders in the league and definitely the best double pivot in the league. So it is, when you go to such a young, raw talent, it is going to look a little bit different and feel a bit different. But I think he's had more of the good signs as games have gone on, but he's also looked... It's when we're under pressure, he just tends to look a little bit shaky and he gives the ball away in some bad spots. He'll get there. He will get there. He's 20, we can afford for him to have an inconsistent season and he'll still only be 21. You know, you look at someone like Leao last season who blew so hot and cold that that some fans were saying that a small minority of fans were saying that we should give up on him and look to sell him. That obviously isn't going to be the case with Tonali, but I agree that if he was playing in front of a full stadium, San Siro is a stadium that naturally, as a collective, all groan whenever a player gives the ball away, no matter who it is, no matter what the circumstances. So yeah, it does help that we've got the time that we've got at the moment to let him come good, and he will. So yeah, that was Celtic. I can't think of anything else that was really of note. Diogo Dalot made his debut. I wouldn't say there was too much to pick up on. He didn't do a lot going forward, but there was a good report after the game that said that Pioli told him just to make sure Laxalt didn't do anything down their left side, because they clearly pinpointed him as the main threat for Celtic. Obviously, we know him well because he's on loan from us there. Laxalt actually...
Is he on loan, or I thought it was a purchase?
No, he's on loan for the season. Dry loan as well, so there's no option to buy. But Laxalt had some decent moments, I'll be honest, but...
He kind of pissed me off. He was playing a little rough, and I get it. He might feel a little betrayed by us for offloading him 3 times now or 2 times now or whatever it's been. But I don't know. I thought he was playing more physical than he needed to. And I get, like, you want to win, you want to get the result, but like it seemed like he was actively trying to hurt our players, and he
was going in intensely. I mean, he's got a point to prove to the team that showed faith in him to bring him there now. But I think it's that coupled up with what he was saying in the pre-match press conference. When he was asked about Milan, he said, "Oh, every team has their weaknesses, and I know them better than most," and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, you better get a result now, otherwise you like a right.
Well, he was our weakness. That's why he knows him so well.
Yeah. Yeah, I do feel sorry for him in a way. It wasn't a bad signing at the time, because you got to remember he was coming off the back of a decent World Cup campaign, but didn't get an awful lot of game time.
I mean, it wasn't a good signing either, but given the circumstances, I believe it was right when
wasn't it
Leonardo
and
Maldini took over. Exactly, it was right after they got control of the club. No moves had really been made at that point. We had to do something. We needed depth, so. That's what we got, him and Castillejo, I believe, on the same day, right?
Oh God, I should remember that. But Castillejo was part of the Carlos Bacca deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, that he went late in that window, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
he scored twice this week, also. By the way, not that it really matters, but yeah, in Europa.
Is he still at Villarreal?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good. I always liked him, mate. I know he started missing a lot of chances towards the end of his time with us, but he was.
I think his conversion rate is still
didn't want to be
higher
here.
than most. Yeah, and that was partially like the fans' fault. I think we gave him a lot more shit than deserved.
Also,
he had one of the best conversion rates. I did hate that. The 70 was.
Yeah, I did buy a Bacca shirt, but I think I ended up selling it.
Nah, mine's in the drawer right here.
It's in the graveyard. It's in the graveyard of all the other shirts. So yeah, that was Celtic. Job done there. And then move on. 6-goal thriller on Monday night against Roma. Now, just saying that. I mean, it was... Who was it who said it?
Was it a thriller?
Calabria.
The ref controlled a lot of that thriller.
I thought it was any game with 6 goals.
I think it was
down as a thriller, but it was Calabria who said that it was a good game, but there was bitterness. I think that's the best way of putting it, because I enjoyed it as a spectacle, especially given that for the vast majority of the game we were leading, and it was like, here we go, we're going to keep rolling, and especially when we went 3-2 up with 11 minutes to go, you're just like, that has to be it now. That batten down the hatches, and let's just any way that we can make it 5 wins from 5 in the league. Didn't happen. 3-3 draw. I've seen a few people say fair on the balance of play, but not in my opinion. I think we probably deserved to win that one, and I think the stats probably show that. But guilty of missing chances, like a couple of free headers. There was the Kier one that he put onto the post. There was the Romagnoli one at the end. The Kessier header from a corner that Mirante somehow kept
out. Our goalie also sucks.
You can't slate Kessie for his... I don't know if you can, but I'm just going to keep talking.
Yeah.
You can't slate Kessie for his chance, because that was the best save of Morante's career. Any other keeper that goes... I mean, that's on target. Kessie did his job. Morante just did his as well. So you can't slate him for that. If you want to pick on Romagnoli and Kier for misplacing theirs, fine, I get it. But ultimately, you shouldn't have to look for a last second goal in stoppage time. But I don't. When you score 3, it's really hard to say you miss chances. I mean, obviously, yes, but is there a game where you're going to put away every single chance every single time? Probably not. To me, ultimately, we dominated the game. We deserved all 3 points. There was a 10-minute frantic set of affairs from the referee that resulted in like 7 cards, 2 non-existent penalties. The way I look at it, that game should have ended 2-2, and both of their goals came from mistakes from us. They didn't do anything better than us. The first one was Tatarushanu's mistake. That was his first game. He got the call up on 4 hours notice because Donnarumma gets COVID. So, I mean, you can't expect him to be 100% fit there, even though you always say like the backup should be ready to go whenever. When you're the backup to Donnarumma, you don't expect to really need to be called on too often, especially last minute like that. You would know ahead of time. So I don't blame him for not being 100% ready, but that mistake was real bad. I mean, he went to save that cross or the corner kick, and he just misjudged it by a lot.
He didn't even I was watching the game with my dad.
Didn't even get a fingertip to it. Just completely missed.
Yeah, he's like, he didn't even get close to it.
It was bad.
That was the thing.
And then that ball falls to Edin Dzeko, who now has a wide open net. I mean, he's putting that away 11 times out of 10. He's never going to miss that. So it is what it is there. 14th minute, it's 1-1. And then the other mistake was from Zlatan. And that's really shitty because he scored 2 goals. Again, 1 penalty that should never happen, but it was a makeup, so it is what it is. And, he went to karate kick a goal another corner that he easily could have headed away, and it just deflected perfectly to Kumbula for another goal. So it's a tough one to swallow. Ultimately, we're still 22 games unbeaten, still top of the table, but we should have 2 more points. We
should be 4 points clear ultimately, exactly. And as it is, we're only 2. There were a couple of things that pissed me off about Roma's first and third goals. First one, it was a mistake. There's no 2 ways about it. I think Tatarusanu comes out for it. As a defender, when your keeper goes rushing for a ball like that, you're just hoping and praying that he gets to it. Mm-hmm. However, one thing I will say is that I will attribute something like 15% of the blame to Romagnoli, because the one thing that we need to make sure is that Dzeko, no matter what, doesn't get a free header from a corner inside the box. Do you remember when we lost 2-1 at Roma last season away? Kessier was the one who was tasked with marking Dzeko, gave him a free header from a corner to put them 1-0 up. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
The
only reason I don't blame Romagnoli that much, and maybe 15% is fair because obviously he shouldn't have let his defender get away, but you're used to having a competent goalkeeper. When you're used to Donnarumma, you assume that he's getting that ball, and that's going to alter your positioning a little bit. You don't expect, okay, I got to double cover this guy now because my keeper is most likely going to miss this. So I think the mental aspect of it, he probably didn't make as big
but if
a
you
mistake.
Also, if you want to be considered a world-class defender, you always have to be defending. You can't rely on your goalie.
And I agree with that. That's why he does get blame. But to me, first and foremost, that's the goalkeeper.
If you watch the slow-mo replay of the goal, there is part of me, because I do watch this and think I could point it out, but I'd probably get flamed for it. There's definitely a moment where Romagnoli almost backs off because he wants to give Tatarusanu a full jump at the ball and not to impede him. So that's also another thing. As a defender, you don't want to get in the way of the goalkeeper. So that's fair enough. But yeah, Dzeko just did bully him out of the way, unfortunately. That's the way it is. The third goal as well, sloppy marking, regardless of... So the entire game, Roma had quite a lot of corners, it must be said. Both teams had quite a lot of corners, and both teams seemed intent on whipping them in at the near post and looking for those flick-ons, however they were coming. So we're finally 3-2 up again. I think, the way that we're set up with a man marking system for set pieces, there needs to be the finger pointed at whoever lost Kumbula in that situation as well. Whether you're expecting Zlatan to flick it in or not, you've got to expect a ball to come across the 6-yard box, because that's exactly what you set up for. And he, not only, it wasn't like he got narrowly beaten to the ball, whoever was marking him. Kumbula was stood in about 3 yards of space,
he flew in.
Box.
I mean, he was completely unmarked.
So that wasn't ideal. I think I did write a feature straight after, a bit of a rant, basically saying this game can be looked back on as a massive positive if we learn from those mistakes. I think we've been riding this wave for a while now where we think we're absolutely unbeatable. And yeah, we weren't beaten. But I think people just assume that when we go up in games now, we're going to end up winning them. Good mentality to have. Plenty
I
of
definitely do.
Yeah, plenty of confidence.
I still don't believe we're going to win after.
I'm a bit
21.
like that. I'm just thinking, when are the wheels going to fall off here? But it's good that people are so confident in the team and stuff like that. The one positive from it is that, you know, the group seem to be quite perfectionist, and they'll see the fact that we conceded 3 goals and realise that we are not the full product yet. I think it was Gazzetta who described us as a well-oiled machine that are just missing a couple of spare parts, which I think is, you know, pretty accurate, both from a squad depth point of view and also our game isn't 100% just yet. We're still missing the odd chance. We're still having the odd lapse in. I think it's 2 clean sheets in 9 games across all competitions now.
Yeah. No, it's
it might be European games.
3.
We kept saying, 3.
3 clean sheets, and because this was our 4th or 5th game? 5th game of the season, and we've only conceded in the last 2 games. Granted, 4 goals, but yeah, I don't know. But the good news is, Giacomelli and the VAR ref suspended, so there's proof that they fucked up on both penalty calls, and proof that the league is taking notice of it now. You know, I'm sure someone can name it. I definitely can't. But when was the last time the league actually took action against a referee for bad calls? You know, I mean, that's rare. So even though it may not be enough, because they say it's a month suspension, ultimately that's 2 games because there's an international break coming up. But it's better than nothing.
Well,
and
actually,
this is a league that everyone knows has some honesty issues. You know, to put it lightly. So I didn't expect anything coming out of it. So I was happy to hear that.
It should be noted as well. Yeah, they've been officially banned for 2 rounds of games in Serie A, but also they have to undergo what they actually call a rehab stint in Serie B. So they won't be officiating in Serie A for a while.
I did not know that. That's
and that includes the VAR chief, Luigi Nasca, who has form for messing up. He was the guy who, during the game between Fiorentina and Inter, missed an absolute blatant handball that forced them to completely redefine.
Oh, that was him.
Yeah,
wow.
So he's got form for it. And then Giacomelli is a questionable bloke anyway. I remember when the saga broke about him having his Facebook picture as Totti taking a penalty. And apparently he is a renowned Roma supporter, but I don't buy into all that. You know, you want to do your job well regardless. But also, he did even it up. Like, that's one thing I don't.
And that's why, I don't think it was bias. I think it was just a fuck up.
Yeah, I think he was bad for both teams, and I do think that that's possible. I watched the.
I don't think you're gonna find a referee in any sport that doesn't have a favorite team. You don't become a referee if you don't like the sport. You know,
gotta love football.
Exactly. So I don't blame him for being a fan of a team. That's life. I mean, we're all fans. And he did the makeup call. So, like, to me, that's, I don't want to say fair play, but like, all right, cool. You know, you gave him one, now you gave us one. It is what it is. But I don't feel like it's, and you need to do better at your job.
100%, yeah. And I'm glad that NASCA's gone as well, because VAR simply has to intervene in those moments. To the extent
we need to make it to where it's like American football, where we get challenges. Either the manager or the team captain should be allowed to be like, yo, you're wrong, take this to VAR, and if they overturn it, great. If not, then, you know, we lose our right to challenge further on in the game or something. But there's got to be a way to where it's not entirely in the referee and the VAR chief's control. You know, there's got to be something else. We need checks and balances, because
I saw a good article, because obviously they're having problems with it in the Premier League as well, particularly offside calls. It seems to be at the moment, with like these split seconds,
which is so weird. That should be the easiest call.
It should be, but there's all this.
I think they're doing a great job.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Yeah. Is Pickford in jail yet for that tackle on Van Dijk?
God, if you listen,
maybe Virgil shouldn't have such weak knees, man.
Right?
Shouldn't skip leg day.
Agreed.
I don't skip.
There's a good article anyway about it was from an English journalist who basically said that we've got to the point, or maybe we were never at a point beyond this, but it's at the point now where we realise having VAR, this multi-million pound system with people paid to operate it, having the VAR system is no longer a guarantee of getting the right decision. And it's like, once you're at that point, the whole thing is a bit shit. You know, if you're going to use it, it better get stuff right. That's the bottom line.
It does, but they're using it wrong. That's my biggest issue, is they're not using it the way it's intended to. I mean, it shouldn't be the ref's decision. It should be, we look at it, and this is how it is.
Right.
Go with that. You shouldn't get the option to stick to your call. It shouldn't be, clear and obvious error. It should be mistake. Because there's some type mistakes, and it's like, okay, human error, whatever.
Yeah.
But
like in the NFL,
they adult and own up. Oh, we fucked up.
Yeah. The NFL can choose to reverse a call without the ref, right?
Yeah,
the ref have to?
something like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but yeah, it's not just like, oh, we might have messed up. I don't know. Just leave it. It's like either you did or you didn't. The laws are pretty clear. Some are up for interpretation, but for the most part, it's pretty obvious what is and what isn't. And I think the fact that only some things are reviewable, some things aren't, it leaves too much human error in the game. And that's what we're trying to eliminate. And you could say that takes the life out of the sport or whatever, but ultimately cheating takes the life out of the sport, and that's what a foul is. Fouling is cheating. So that's what you got to get rid of.
Fouling is cheating. Everyone don't foul. That's the message from...
I mean, yeah, you get in trouble for it. Like, you're not...
Yeah, you do. And one thing I will say about the Roma game is that we haven't seen two incidents as bad as that for a long time.
Yeah.
The penalty given on Benacer was so clearly not a penalty that it actually confused me as to why it wasn't looked at. As in, like, I thought that we were going to get an explanation then that the VAR wasn't working.
When the whistle blew, I thought we won a free kick because that's what really happened. I was like, all right, cool. And then my announcers are like, oh, it's a penalty. And I'm like, how the fuck is it a penalty? And I watched I watched the replay, and I'm like, no, it's not a penalty. Like, you just misheard them, or you didn't see his hand correctly, and then it was a penalty.
I actually sat back down. I sat back down having seen the slow-mo replay, like, oh, thank God. The replay shows that it's not going to be a penalty. They're going to overturn this. And then I heard the whistle as they were still showing the replay, and I thought the ref's already blown for a free kick and everything's fine. Turns out he was actually blowing to get everyone out of the box, and then next thing you know, the penalty's been taken. I'm like, what the fuck has just happened?
Yeah.
Like, how can that happen? And then I think then you start to wonder, if he really believes he's made the right call, he's had the word in his ear that he's made the right call, why does he give such a soft penalty up the other end for what, in my opinion, wasn't a foul for Çalhanoğlu? Maybe our players were quite wise in that sense, in that we just put the ball into the box and we're like, right, little bit of contact, you go over, because he's going to look for an opportunity to even it up with another controversial decision. So we did it, we got it, and then, you know what, a point's a point. It's a good point if we win the next 3 games in the league, let's say, like we're supposed to.
And next 3 is a bit tough, but next 2 definitely. Our third game is Napoli after the break, but the next 2 should be pretty straightforward. Or Hellas Verona and someone else, I can't remember.
Udinese on Sunday.
Udinese, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the break comes at a great time for us, though. We get 2 relatively easy games in the league. We get to finish off the first leg of the group stage, and then 2 weeks off, and now we get a big challenge in the league. I think that's, for once, the first time the scheduling actually plays in our favor.
We should do
if we win out. If we do what we're supposed to. Win. Yeah, and I think we will.
We should do some kind of bingo thing as to like how many COVID cases we're going to have when the players come back from international break.
Yeah, it's going to
why
get
are they
worse
bothering with it?
I know. We saw the disaster the first time. Why are we doing it again 2 weeks later?
Have you seen the? Is it?
It's going to ramp up too in the winter. Like,
yeah, that's
about to get
very
real bad.
Yeah.
Reggiana, 29 players and staff have got COVID there. It's like absolutely run through them as a club.
Throw out the club, throw them away.
I think we're going to see quite a lot of cases coming up because
I hope we don't.
We've got it. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Donnarumma's out with it now, as we know.
That actually might be best case scenario because now he's not getting called up.
That's true. Yeah, that's
unless he comes right back like Hakimi.
And Hauge too, because he's just got into the Norway team. Yeah, so that might not be too bad. But yes, it's a difficult time at the moment. Like, you do wake up every day, or I wake up every day for work thinking, who's going to get it?
Today?
Yeah.
I don't know if you want Hauge too, or I don't know how to say his name, but get it because he's on a good run of form. Like he's been playing good.
Well,
So
he got
whether
it
or not
already.
he gets right, but he said it's good because then he doesn't get called up. I'd rather him get called up to like not have
Oh, I
it,
see what you're saying.
get called up and continue his good
Yeah.
run of play.
Yeah, it might break his momentum a little bit in that sense. But it didn't for Zlatan. That's one thing I will say. And if it doesn't take it out of the 39-year-old, then it should still be okay. I hope.
It seems like
And,
the
No, but he's looking
asymptomatic
pretty
people could
rough.
come. Dude, yeah, he looks tired.
yeah, so Zlatan looked kind of shot towards in some of the pictures that came out, especially, but as expected, towards the end of the Roma game. Interestingly, he only made 2 subs out of the 5 available, Pioli. Now, we kind of had an argument about this in the chat. Not an argument, a small disagreement
Yeah.
about this in the chat. I thought that there were a couple more subs that he could have made, in my opinion, especially given that when it got back to 2-2 was when he brought off the 2 wingers who'd done very well and brought on 2 less threatening options. And then he kept a clearly not 100% fit Hakan Çalhanoğlu play 100% of the game. When Brahim Diaz was, full of confidence, having scored 4 goals in October alone, he left him on the bench when we could have used his pressing. Not only that, but when we went 3-2 up, when it seemed logical to move to a 4-3-3 and bring Tonali on for that bit of extra insurance, it didn't happen. We used 2 subs out of 5 when we've got 3 games in 8 days. I'm not going to slag Pioli off. However, he's got a lot of praise recently. I think also there are certain things that should be scrutinised, but you don't agree.
No, I do, but I was disagreeing on different points. The part I was disagreeing on is the part you didn't mention conveniently on this. Was you were saying that it was game management, which I get. Yeah, substitutions are a part of that, but more so a lack of concentrations, things like that. And you were saying, I can't remember the exact wording
for the
of
set
it, but
piece.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it was, but basically my thing was like we dominated the game.
It was about the
just a few
speed.
mistakes.
It was about the pace of the game. I think that's
what it was. It was you said we let them play at their pace, and I don't think that's the case. I thought we played at our pace and then made costly mistakes at very specific points. But I do agree the substitutions were strange. It was a bit whack. Brahim needed to come on. Castillejo has no business on a football pitch, and Tonali does have business, so he could have been brought on, like you said. Hakan was absolutely tired, coming back from injury. Zlatan looked like he was falling asleep. I don't know. It's just an old age thing. But
narcolepsy.
Changes needed to be made, and not the ones that were made. I don't have any issue with Krunic coming on. He's obviously earned that ability. But, yeah, with 5 subs, only using 2, like you said, 3 games in 8 days, you need to use more substitutions, get more rotation in there. And we had attacking threats. That's the thing. You can't bring on Castillejo, who in my opinion is who you bring on when you're winning 3-0, because you're not getting another goal at that point. You do want another goal when it's 2-2 though, and that's why you would bring on Brahim Diaz. So it was a little weird that he didn't. And it's not the first time we've criticized Pioli for his substitutions. We've done it in the past in winning form as well. He has. I've praised him for his substitutions as well quite a bit, but every now and then he'll have a game or two that's like, that was really weird substitution choices. We saw it a lot in preseason as well. Where why aren't the young kids playing? Or towards the end of last season, things like that. But I mean that comes down to preference, I think, not playing youngsters over established starters. But this was different. This was, we need a goal. Here's some not too attack oriented players we're going to bring on, as opposed to attacking ones.
Yeah, and I realize I probably didn't explain this at the time, but the pace of play thing wasn't in reference to the entire game. It was that we took the lead for the 3rd time with 11 minutes to go, and rather than try and really, really slow things down with clever game management, and you know what I mean by that, taking ages to take free kicks and looking to stay down with injuries where possible. It isn't how we like to see it, but but
that's what you do
it, and instead we let them come at us and really come at us, and they got 2 corners in quick succession, and rather than take our time to adjust, just someone go down or something, we let them whip in that second one, and we were caught disorganized. And it's like, when you 3-2 up with less than 10 minutes to go, you cannot let that happen. That was my only gripe with that. I wanted us to just be that little bit more I don't know, gamesman-like. I don't know how
Yeah.
you'd say it.
And I think a part of that goes to our recent winning form and like this new fucking diehard mentality we have, to where maybe we felt we could get a fourth, you know?
I think we did.
And I
think we
seriously
did.
think that's what they were going for, which is understandable, but like you said, not the wisest
Admirable.
decision given the situation. You know,
Mm.
when you've been leaky minutes after scoring each time, don't look for the fourth goal when you finally got ahead in the 81st minute or whatever it is. Like, just sit back a little bit. You know,
Yeah,
I agree. With you. And now the other issue though is all the cards that were given in that 10-minute span. I couldn't keep track of it. So who's to say like the reason they didn't go down, they didn't waste time, didn't flop, was
yeah.
what if we're on a card already? Like, I can't remember, you know?
Right.
Like,
By the way, interestingly, Benacer doesn't have a single yellow card this season yet.
it's so weird
I
because
saw
at
that.
this point last
Yeah.
season he had a suspension already or something.
Yeah,
Like,
it was mental. I think he got 7 in his first 7 games.
yeah.
And yeah, now he's not had it. I don't think he's had one in his last 16, I read,
Good for
you
him.
know, stretching back to last season. So he's sort of nailed that part of his game down, which is good.
Yeah, he just
anyway,
had 2 or 3
so-
already this season, which is funny.
Who does?
Yeah.
Donnarumma. Time
He loves
wasting.
it, doesn't he? He loves it. The Inter one was the best when the penalty had been overturned, and instead of just going to take it, the
Yeah.
free kick for offside, he got in the ref's face about the fact that the penalty was even given in the first. I like that though. It's shithouse mentality.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sparta, Prague. Now, I didn't know too much about them prior to doing the preview today and speaking to one of the Czech journalists who covers them. We've got an interview coming out with him on the site tomorrow, which is quite good. They seem an interesting team. The main guy basically is Hlozek, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But a guy called Adam Hlozek. He's an 18-year-old, plays a striker or a winger, but he's banging them in domestically. What do you think of the Czech Liga? He's been linked with us though, and he's been linked with Leipzig and Dortmund, and there's a couple of other teams. He seems to be the real deal. So he's the one to look out for, really. But obviously Sparta got thumped 4-1 at home by Lille in their first group stage game. Their head coach has actually come out and said
It was 5-1.
Was it 5? Oh.
Yeah.
The head coach has even come out in the press conference today and said they're not a match for Milan or Lille, which is very honest of him. He's described Ibrahimovic as the best in the world, which is
Also honest of him.
Flop of the season. And
Just wait. It's coming, man.
he's already not going to be the flop of the season. I swear it's not
2
possible.
goal per game fucking conversion ratio.
6 goals in 3 league starts. He's just blasted it out the water. Anyway, what would you just name your starting 11? Basically, would you rotate a lot, or do you think we need to pick up points early?
Yeah, I think
I'd
we do need to get. I'll rotate a little bit, you know, because we do need to get points. Exactly, it's the easiest game, but we do need to get points early. We can't let it go down to last time we were in Europa, coming down the final match day against Olympiacos and blowing it. I think crushing out of the group stages. We need to get through, and this is definitely the year we would do that for sure. So I think it's important to still play some heavy hitters. Maybe not start Zlatan. We probably will because that's what we do. But I think this would be the time to start Diaz, start Leao, start Krunic again. You know, give those players a chance. Start Tonali. Maybe even go back to Gabia. Let Romagnoli rest. He got a few games in.
COVID.
Oh shoot! I forgot he got COVID because it was right when Romagnoli came back.
Duarte is back, but I don't think this is
Agent Duarte.
No, maybe this is the game because otherwise, when are you going to play him? You're not going to play him in the league.
Yeah, you should not have him.
Do you give him? Do you hope we're 3-0 up and you give him 30 minutes? Maybe.
You hope an offer comes in January.
Yes, that's also.
He
true.
was not that bad.
He's the reason we have COVID. He's not my friend.
What, us 3 have it?
Yes, that's why we're in separate rooms, in case anyone didn't know.
We all live on the same street. Yeah, so there's an interesting note about this, is that Lille, obviously because this is how group stages work, Lille play Celtic. If Lille win like they should do, Lille are top of Liga, by the way, they're still flying. If Lille beat Celtic like they should do, we beat Sparta like we should do, us 2 were on 6, the other 2 were on 0. So then we only need to win 2 of our remaining 4 group games to get through. So when you put it like that, it's a fairly simple equation. We should be able to win a game like this. No disrespect to Sparta, but we should be able to win a game like this, rotating a few bodies. Teo needs a rest. So you got Tatarashanu in goal, probably. I'd start Conte, to be honest, if he's fit, just to give Calabria a rest because he's played a lot of football.
Diogo. I would start Dallo.
But I think start Dallo on the left. And give
Can he
Teo
do
a
left as
rest.
well?
Yeah, he played left back for United and for Porto. He played as an inverted fullback, and he's quite good at it. So I'd rest Teo by any means, but any way we see fit to do that. I'd rest Calabria if possible and play Conte. If not, we can probably get away with playing Calabria again, and we can rotate him for the next Europa League game. Kier and Romagnoli, we don't have a choice. It's got to be those two. Midfield, it looks like it's going to be Tonali Benacer, which I don't mind. I think Kessié needs the rest. That should be the priority, and we'll get to see if Tonali Benacer works better than Tonali Kessié.
I know you said it, but do you think Donnarumma's going to be back in time, or are we still with Cyprian?
Him and Hoga are going to miss the next 2 games at least, because they have to observe a 10-day quarantine period.
Hakimi didn't.
Um,
Hakimi just had a false positive like immediately after, and they're like, "Oh, you're good, actually."
I don't think that they have false positives.
Apparently, I don't know if it's true, but I saw one guy tweet that Donnarumma actually did 3 tests because there was question that the second positive was actually a false positive, but he got a positive on that as well. So it seems they are legit positive. It would be a freaky situation if they, as a result of being genuinely positive, returned a negative test within a week, let's say, because stay around for a long time.
Yeah.
So they're going to miss at least the next 2 games, which is a bit of a bummer. But the hope is that they're back after that, and obviously, if they're out for like just over a week or whatever, they can slot straight back in. Gabia will hopefully be back in the next couple of days. I mean, he's been out a while now. Tonali Benacer, fine with. I know you're going to disagree with this, but I'd give Castillejo a go on the right because Salamanca's could also do with a rest. Castillejo is either going to become a completely useless asset between now and January, so we can sell him for nothing, or we can put him in situations where he can play himself into some form. And I prefer the latter. So we put him out there against Sparta and say, if you don't look like a world beater in this game, then it's done for you. You know, I'd throw him out there and say, let's give it a rotation on the right wing. I'd play Brahim, attacking midfielder, or Krunic, whichever, and then Brahim on the left. You know,
that's what I would do.
Krunic and Brahim again. I'd honestly play Leao up front.
Yep.
I'd give Ibra a rest.
Do we know Rebic's return date?
Rebic will be back for Sunday, but not for... So Rebic apparently will be fit enough to start on Sunday. He might play a role off the bench tomorrow night. He's going to be named in the squad. But he'll be fit enough to start again on Sunday, which is big because it means that, you know, we've got another option back for left wing and striker. I like having Rebic in and around. Just such a versatile option. And then... yeah, I'd play Leao up front because he scored 2 goals against Spezia, playing as a centre forward. So, got to think that Spezia, Sparta, Prague, hopefully be able to do similar kind of thing.
I think we're going to win that game with your lineup, with any lineup really. And then the only real challenge in the group stage is Lille, and we knew that going into it. So that's going to be our next 2 games after this, as far as group stage goes. We get results in both of them, win or draw. I think we set ourselves up very nicely because there's no way we're losing the return against the other guys. Yeah,
you know, we've got Celtic at home as well. Things are set up favourably after that win, but just got to take care of business tomorrow, and we could be in a very good position. Prediction-wise, I put 3-1 in my preview. I don't know why I put 1.
Because it's Tatarusanu?
Possibly, yeah. So I'll stick with 3-1.
I think that's a good result. I'm tentative to even say 3-2 just because I don't trust Tatarusanu at all.
I think he's going to get a clean sheet.
There's a cat in your hood?
Yeah,
I know. I saw that and I was like, what the hell? I'll say 3-0 and Maldini's going to score 1. He's going to come in and he's going to get 1.
I'd like that.
You say it every week, it'll come true, mate.
That's the
Yeah,
plan.
and
This
then
guy used to predict a screamer every week. And then when I stopped, it became true.
I just realised as well we've got Udinese on Sunday. Let me have a look where they are in the table. But I'm guessing for that game we'll revert back to sort of the first choice 11. So
Yeah.
it will be up front. We'll have Leao or Rebic on the left, Çalhanoğlu, Salamakers. It'll sort of be back to normal. Udinese have not started the season well. They've got 3 points from 5 games. They've lost 4 of them.
Who'd they beat?
Good question. Didn't they win their first game of the season?
I have no
Also,
idea.
AJ, are you waking up to
Oh,
watch
they
the
beat
game?
Parma.
Oh, no. Is it one of those early ones?
It's 11:30
is.
my time, so it'd be 7:30 a.m. for Mad Dog.
It's 6:30, so probably 3:30 for you.
Let me just look real quick.
Not going to bed.
No,
Hey,
I got
just
to work
stay up
that
and-
day. No,
Just stay up and drink. Oh no,
I got to work 3.5 hours after that, so I'll wake up for it. Fuck
You know
it.
what it is as well? That record that we have in the Sunday early kickoffs is terrible.
Yeah,
Like,
but this is a different
bad.
team, man. The past
Yeah.
doesn't matter anymore.
No fans. So yeah, Udinese have still got like Rodrigo de Paul, I suppose. I'm just trying to think of players that they
That's
have.
it.
Oh, they have. So they have Becao. Oh God, Kevin Lasagna, who always seems to do all right against us. Okaka, de Paul's there.
Stefano
who went there
Okaka?
from Pereira, who went there from Watford. I think he's actually quite good. Tolgay Arslan, I seem to remember Milan being linked with him years and years ago when he was just coming through at Hamburg. But yeah, not a great team. They're probably going to be down that end more than up in the top half. Let's get things done like we did against Crotone. 2-0.
Yeah, that works.
Mandy. Yeah. Right, so news. Romagnoli contract extension. Çalhanoğlu contract extension. We'll start with Romagnoli. Apparently wanting a pay rise from his current $3.5 million a year, but you know what it's like. Donnarumma and Çalhanoğlu both expire in like a few months, June 2021. We kind of want to avoid that situation. Romagnoli's deal runs out in 2022, but we don't want that rush happening again.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the first question is, would you be willing to give him a pay rise to stay?
Yeah, but not a big one. You know, I'm
I'd
like
sell him.
Hakan wants to double, and if supposedly, Romagnoli doesn't have a double in him right now. You know, I just given injury, given form since return, given shaky form pre-injury, I think he can get a raise for being captain and for sticking around while the ship was sinking for so long. But I don't think double or anything. Give him an extra $500,000 or something.
Yeah, double would be $7 million, which would put him above Gigio's current salary. Obviously, we expect that to go up, but it would put him on a par with Zlatan, which is kind of mental. Probably 5. Now, if I was Mino Raiola, if I was his agent, I'd be saying, no, we're not talking about his new deal now, because we probably have the most leverage we've ever had in terms of negotiating a new deal, because he's just coming back from a 3-month injury and he looks a little bit shaky still, and we can say, the guarantees aren't there for us to offer you $5 million. I'd delay it and let him get into form again if I was Raiola, and then say he's the club captain. He deserves a top salary, which is probably true. I can see us extending him, and I can see us sort of doing something around the $5 million, including bonuses, because you've got to factor in how much it would cost to go out and get, a new centre back. It's probably worth just paying that extra $1.5 million to keep him. Even if
is he gonna progress more? Is he gonna get better?
He's 25 now.
Right. He should be. Sorry.
Incredible.
What are you doing, Cass?
Sabrina the teenage.
He should be getting to the height of his play. He should be starting to get there, and he isn't.
Feels like everyone still has doubts about him. And that isn't really how it should be with the captain of the club who's entering the prime of his career. However, I'd still keep him around. I think it would send a bad message if we were to just flog him, and ultimately he's part of this group. And you got to remember, yes, he's been a little bit shaky since he came back. However, towards the end of last season, when we went on the ridiculous run, he was partnering Kiev for the entire time and was part of a good defensive unit until he got injured and Gabia came in for those last couple of games. So the form is there to suggest that he's... Çalhanoğlu, though, is a difficult one because, you know, has he earned that salary doubling?
Yeah, give him what he wants.
Yep.
You think?
I'd give him what he wants.
Yeah. Now, he doubles it, goes to 6 mil. That's leverage for Donnarumma to go up for 8 or 9 or whatever it is he's going to ask for. So
That's
if
why
we
you
could get the
signed
Donnarumma
first.
deal first, exactly.
The Gazette
Also, I'd
report
give
was-
Donnarumma $8 million a year.
Oh, yeah, easy. 100%. I'm just saying, if Hakan gets doubled from 3 to 6, he could be like, well, then I'm going to go from 7 to 10 or whatever it is.
The one thing
I'd give
that
Donnarumma
we
whatever he
did,
wants, honestly.
the one thing we did briefly mention at the time that Ibra arrived and we agreed to give him 3.5 mil for half a season and then 7 mil for one season, is that it kind of completely moved the goalposts in terms of the salaries for the rest of the team. All of a sudden, you're looking down and you're like, Benacer and Teo on 1.5 mil. They're top performers. They're going to come knocking on the door asking for their pay tripling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Yeah,
they're up
4
there.
or
And
5
I
mil.
triple it.
And I
I'd
give it to him. The problem is that wage bill.
This is the problem. You sign players that are young, unproven, come from smaller teams, and you give them what is at that point in time a big pay rise for them. But when they don't be surprised when they develop into star players that they start demanding star wages. You know, that's the only little thing about this project.
That's going to be when we decide if we want to actually compete.
Yeah.
Or if we're just going to sell them.
I agree.
Are we going to pay these players what they deserve, or are we just going to say?
That's when we see
See
where
that on the
Elliot's
next
really at,
game.
you know?
Now, one
Your money
thing
where your
as
mouth
well,
is.
one thing which is a positive is that these players, once they've been here for 2 years, and that's when I think we'll start to negotiate more contracts.
Get that tax break.
Yeah, you get 50% off tax, so that makes things a lot more affordable for us. The Hakan thing, Gazzetta were the
say that
ones who...
again?
So it's called a growth decree, and it's basically an
Beckham law.
Italian government scheme where if you've been employed in Italy and your tax address is in Italy and you've had that for 2 years, you get a 50% discount on the tax that you need to pay. So Milan pay the players' taxes, they pay the gross salary. The players get the net salary and the rest is tax, but the tax would go down by 50%. So Ibra's deal wouldn't cost us 15 million gross anymore. It would cost us 10, 11. So, you know, it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
That bit of
It's
money
beneficial
saved can go-
to re-sign Ibra for another year.
which is interestingly being talked about.
Yeah, and should be.
Yeah, I think he's going to end up staying into his 40s. But yeah, on the Çalhanoğlu thing, Gazzetta are the ones saying that he wants 6 million a year to stay, which is more than a double pay rise. Problem is if other teams start sniffing around, you know, Juve, Inter, and Man United have been mentioned. There's no way that we lose him, I don't think, to a domestic rival. I don't feel like that
Wouldn't go.
is good business practice for anybody. But yeah, interesting. We kind of need to step on the accelerator with that one. It feels more urgent than Gigio because Gigio wants to stay actively. I think Hakan does as well, but he knows that if the deal isn't there with us, there are other teams that will take him gladly.
Yeah.
But also, who wants to go to Juve right now?
No one.
No one.
No one.
Weston McKennie, that's who.
Great player.
Makes me sad.
Great player. Yeah. One more news story is because basically there was a shareholders meeting today. The budget got finalised. It's as we expected. 195 million losses, COVID induced, whatever you want to say. Gazidis came out and said though that we're already working on the January market. We've got clear strategies. If the opportunity is there to improve the team, we will. From that, it's come out that we're after signings in 2 positions. We're going for a centre back and a deputy to Ibrahimovic. I can't remember if we discussed this last week.
I just don't understand the deputy to Ibrahimovic thing.
The centre back's an obvious one.
Yeah.
What don't you understand about it?
We already have Leao.
40
We have
years old.
Rebic, but we need a right wing. And look, Zlatan's 39. If he turns
Leao
40, signs 1 more year, loses half his ability, that's still a goal per game average. I'm good with that. So we don't need that
Leao
shit.
said that he wants to play on the wing. He said So
I don't care what he wants.
But you do care what he wants. If he's not going to produce as a striker, you don't want to play him there.
But he has produced as a striker. We have Rebic, we have Leao. We could alternate them both. I'm just saying for this season, if we want to get Champions League, we want to compete.
We've seen Leao at striker.
We need another
not.
right wing.
I'm
for
sorry,
right
we've
now.
seen Rebic at striker, and he's not.
He carried
Rebic is
us
on the
for
wing.
a long time.
He did all right when Zlatan was out, but I think
Yeah.
the entire team were feeding him plenty, which was good.
Yeah, but he also played more out wide. He did not
I think
play
it's
in the
so
center.
obvious, though, that Leao and Rebic have both gone on record as saying they prefer playing wide left.
And
So,
that's
like,
fine.
yeah,
They
can
could
step
go
in and
there,
do a
but-
job, but you've got to factor in at this point as well that we've got Hauger, who's a natural left winger, who we don't seem to want to play on the right wing. So it's like, do you try mold one of them into a full-time centre forward against their will? Probably not. You know, I saw an interesting suggestion of playing Rebic as a right winger because his work rate's so good. He's played there for Croatia quite a lot. I think that would fix a lot of our problems, to be totally honest.
Then do it. Yeah. Then do
But
it.
there's a reason. I'm guessing there's a reason we haven't done it, if you know what I mean, because it seems so obvious. Why hasn't it been done?
Probably the
But
depth.
yeah, the deputy to Ibra, I don't get it. Like, I don't get what player we'd go out and get that would be perfect for the current situation, because we know Ibra wants to start every game. So
Right.
you're looking for someone who's going to rotate occasionally.
That's what I'm saying.
Not
A
only
deputy
that, but you're
doesn't
going
make
for a young
sense.
player who's going to be.
You look for a full-time future replacement next summer. This January, don't touch it. Secure Champions League
What
here.
about?
So upgrade your right wing position, upgrade your
Dude,
center back position.
He's
get
39.
Champions League.
Did you see the bags underneath his eyes?
Yeah, I see
I
the
thought it
bags
was
of
Eddie
yours
game.
too.
Oh.
Yeah.
I got him
shouldn't be
also.
out there playing striker.
But
Yeah,
I'm saying,
dude.
But we know he's gonna play all
Like-
season. He's
like
gonna be good
Duncan
this
Ferguson.
season. All I'm saying,
Oliver thought that
I'm
photo
saying
was
over the
photoshopped.
summer. Over the summer, you get a replacement for Zlatan, but this year you don't need to worry about a backup because he's not sitting out. He's playing the full
Dude,
90 whether
when
he wants
gets
to or
injured
not.
in January, when he's playing 2 games a week and gets injured in January when the transfer market closes, you're gonna be eating your words.
That's fine. But until then, I don't need to eat them.
And then
I'm
we're gonna
full.
finish 5th by 1 point.
Well, and that'd be shitty. But if we need to
All
focus
because
on
we didn't
securing
sign a
champ-
deputy to Ibrahimovic.
But I mean, what good is a backup to Zlatan going to do? He's a backup that we know is okay
Score
with
goals
not.
when Ibra
But,
can't
but
play.
think about it. He's going to be signed under the guys like you're going to play behind Zlatan. Zlatan's going to start every game. You're going to come on sometimes. You know what player is going to accept that? One who doesn't score a lot of goals. So
Mario
whoever we
Mandzukic.
sign,
Or you say, hey,
Is it gonna
you're
be
gonna
that
play
hot?
Europa League and Coppa
he's not
Italia.
though. He's not.
Ibra's gonna play league.
Zlatan's
Yeah,
been
but
starting both. Yeah,
And he can't do that.
but
He's
he
39
he
years old.
is. I'm
You
just
shouldn't
saying.
be doing
It's
that.
not gonna last long. It's not lasting long.
It's last half a year so far.
And
I just think there's other positions we need to immediately reinforce right now and then worry about long-term future over the summer. Once we secure Champions League, once we get that money, go all in for like a Holland or someone, and then buy Ibra, go off into the sunset, have a great rest of your life. You're a hero forever. But right now, he's the hero we need. So we got to go with him.
What do I say every single week? Why don't we just sign a right winger who can play up front? Fix 2 problems.
we have no.
No, that's the thing. We have it.
We have
We got
2 left
Samuel
wingers.
Castillejo, and we got fucking
No, he can't play.
Salamakers, who,
Can't
to
play
be fair,
strike.
solid, but he's not a striker.
Neither of them can play striker. I'm talking about bringing in someone who can do both right wing and striker. I keep saying Mbolo,
Dude,
but
we
someone
are
of that
just
mold.
talking about how we have left wingers who can play striker, and we don't want that.
But
We
that's
want a
fine
striker
because
who
it
can play
means
striker.
that our 2 actual left wingers can stick to playing left wing. But
But you don't want a winger playing striker. You want a striker playing striker.
He's not wrong.
maybe
Sign Dominic Calvert-Lewin from Everton. He's a great number 9.
I'm not even against that, to be honest.
there are players that
He's just shit enough to
we're
accept being on the
signing
bench.
we're signing Florian Talvin.
Yeah.
He's going to be the right.
That's what I'm saying. $3 million, it's a no-brainer. Sign him, come in, right winger. Now you can get your fucking deputy if you really think you need one, Sheriff. Like, it's okay.
Get Jovic on loan. A loan deputy is not a terrible idea. Then it's like we've got someone if we need them.
Yeah, a lone
but-
deputy's solid. That's good. But it's like,
Amazing how quickly we've given up on Colombo, by the way. But he clearly isn't quite there yet.
the problem with
Anyway.
the loan deputy is like the point of a dry loan is to develop a player. And if it's to be a dry loan to back up someone who's going to start every game who demands it. Like, you're not developing anything.
That's true.
Anyways, we're running
question-
out of time. Yeah, questions.
Yeah, I know. I'm just going to ask
I
a
gotta
couple
get
of
back to work,
questions.
man.
I don't think you have a
Long
job.
lunch break.
First
I
question
don't
from
think you have a job.
Mr. Godwin. When will AJ bring his dog onto the podcast? He's been on every now and again as Chucky.
Get up. He's lying down. Get up. Come
Okay, here we go. Next one.
There you go.
Rohit. Hey, there he goes. Rohit says, would you start Liao, given his red hot form, or would you go back to Rebic when he's fully fit?
Liao.
Dad's ride the guy who's hot.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounded awful. That's getting clipped. Christian Espinoza, similar theme. Is Liao finally taking that leap?
I'd say
Yes.
he's definitely, yeah.
Those two
I
assists
love watching
were
Liao play
absolutely-
because he always has the biggest smile on his face.
Oh,
Yeah,
every
he's
time
so
he
happy.
just embarrasses a defender, it's the greatest.
Mhm.
It's the greatest.
It is. He's always smiling. I've looked through the photos, and when he beats a man, he has a grin on his face. Whether that's just what he naturally
It's like
does.
when Usain Bolt is running and like he just like starts to pass him. He's just like,
Yeah.
you know,
He slows down to celebrate early. Like, it's
Right.
crazy.
Wally says, who wins in a fight between him and Tatarashanu? Isn't Tatarashanu quite tall?
Yeah, Tatarusanu wins that. No offense, Wally.
They both got long hair. How tall
Yeah.
is Wally?
Yeah, about my height, 5'10". Tatarushanu's
And
like
again,
6'5". Like,
Tatarashanu's hand-eye clearly isn't all there.
I
Maybe
mean,
Wally, I don't know. I'd be more
I'll take
interested
Wally.
to see them both on a dating show. Not in addition, it's just that Wally's got form for that.
Yeah.
Richard Saltinis asks, should we ditch the Europa League entirely to concentrate on Serie A? No, we need the revenue.
we need
Why
the
is it-
revenue, and it's another path to Champions League that we're
Mhm.
poised to win.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think that's basically it. Thank you for listening, everyone. I've been your host, Ollie Fisher. You can find me on Twitter at Ollie Fisher or at Kilpin Chronicle. Like I say, we hope to have SempreMilan up and running again. Had some positive news on that front. Fingers crossed it's back sooner rather than later. Been joined by Anthony Torgrud.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But glad to be back. Follow me, Torgrid45. Welcome back, Maddie.
Thanks. Follow me on Twitter, Edward_Toth, I believe is my Twitter handle.
It is.
Yeah, it is. And have a good Halloween, everyone. Those of you who celebrate it, I suppose.
Oh, shoot. That's going to happen. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it is. Let's hope we don't get a scare on Sunday morning. Cut that out.
Goodbye.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you in a week's time.
Andrea Conti, bella palla per Rebic, Rebic Ibra, Rebic, il tiro, gol!